Academics, you a good person. You're one of the most powerful people in urban media. And my thing with you is, I don't think I have to even break down all of Wack's flaws. And I don't think that I have to go over what happened with that whole thing.
No,
listen.
Yeah, I feel like I'm knowledgeable of. So I want to hear the conclusion though. So here's what I personally think, right? And I'm being all the way real. What I believe is that I think Wack has slightly a little bit of egg on his face.
So let's just back up for a second, and I'm gonna play this game with you tonight. First of all, so we talk about overt acts. Overt acts are things that the feds add to indictments that really speak to the character of the overall scheme of what the person is charged with. We're talking about a conspiracy here. So when you look at Wack telling that story.
Nah, hold on. Dawgface just called in to Akademiks, man. This right here is gonna be a BT School exclusive. Man, this is what the title say. Did Wack lie to Big Act? Akademiks calls Dawgface and he says Wack 100 is working with them people, man. We all know Dawgface has been on Akademiks bumper and Wack 100 bumper these last couple of days, accusing Akademiks of letting Wack 100 spread lies, knowing that he's, working with them people, allegedly, man. But we about to get into this reaction video, man. Make sure y'all hit that like, hype, subscribe, man. We at 6K trying to get to 10. Y'all do your boy a favor, man. I'm trying to get my stuff back into this algorithm. I was gone for a couple weeks, now I'm back, man. So it's straight up from here, man. Let's see what these guys got to say. Let's get into it.
All right. Let's try to call Dawgface. Dawgface was extremely upset. He said that I was allowing Wack to misuse my platform to distort the truth.
Your call has been for.
Oh shit, niggas got D&D on like. Okay, we got through D&D. We got through D&D, chat. Don't you worry. We got through D&D.
What's up, Ack?
Mr. Dawgface, I'm on stream. We have 12,000 people watching. You have a moment?
Yeah, I got a moment.
I wanted to call you because I've seen your videos. I could tell you were extremely perturbed. You accused me of allowing Wack 100 to misuse the platform to spread his propaganda against the recent, information that came out that that a story that he is told frequently online about him chasing Future has now entered Big U's indictment. According to Wack, he says that came from a snitch on Big U's team saying it because the story isn't all the way accurate. And basically, he says because this is a overt act, it's not a new charge, that really, it's the feds. The feds might be just reaching.
Now, that's the major question about this overt act. And that's where everybody is having their disagreements at. Well, me personally, like I say, I let these guys do the explaining. I just got the ear for it and I pay attention to what people saying, bro. But let's keep it going.
What do you think about the whole thing? I know you were called and I did see your call, but I know you and Wack can't have a civil conversation, so I wanted to keep you guys separate at least, just for the audience. What's your whole thoughts on the recent stuff with Big U?
So listen, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so listen. First of all, I did accuse you of allowing Wack to come on your platform and to use your platform to try to cover up what the whole world knows.
But that's a fact, though. That's the truth. We all seen it, man. I don't know what Wack 100 might got up on Akademiks, but I think Akademiks is starting to see that people is noticing that. But let's keep it going, bro. So he about to let loose. That's what it sounds like. That's why he made this right here. But let's go.
In Big U's case. So let's just start with the 900-pound gorilla in the room. Mm-hmm. The only person who has ever told the stories about what was allegedly happened at LAX between Wack, Big U, Future, Sierra, and then you throw Stunner, and you throw Quick Trick in the mix because he mentioned them. The only person to ever tell that story publicly was Wack. Now, if we just frame it with just Wack being the only person to tell the story, and then let's look at the fact that Wack told the story. He was the only one to tell the story. So how could he have been a snitch in Big U's camp when nobody was there? Big U, when he heard Wack telling this story a couple of years ago, Big U denied that it ever happened. Trick denied it ever happened. Future said that it didn't happen. We haven't talked to Sierra, and we haven't talked to Birdman about the whole thing. But the only person to ever bring this story up.
Well, he did say he's never mentioned Birdman.
He capping. I'm gonna keep it real. I know, man. Akademiks done heard that record. We all know he done heard. I hope Akademiks is this playing green. Like I told y'all in my other reaction video, make sure y'all go check that out. I think Akademiks might be playing it for the bigger picture, bro, for the bigger play at the end, bro. Him and Wack 100.
You know,
Just keep it in the
you know,
band.
I
Just
will
pay
say,
attention.
you know,
So he lied. So listen. So listen. Hold on. So he lied. So we know he lied, and you know he lied, and your entire chat knows he lied because on his own clubhouse, the guy played the tape back for him. He ran the tape back, and he said stunner. We know he said stunner. So, hey, listen, Akademiks, you're a good person. You're one of the most powerful people in urban media. And my thing with you is, I don't think I have to even break down all of Wack's flaws, and I don't think that I have to go over what happened with that whole thing.
No,
Hey, listen.
yeah, I feel like I'm knowledgeable of. So I want to hear the conclusion though. So here's what I personally think, right? And I'm being all the way real. What I believe is that, you know, I think Wack has slightly a little bit of egg on his face. I maybe this came from someone, as he's saying, like, who's snitching or whatever, but I feel like
No.
a story that he told that he thought was innocuous and innocent, the feds consider that actually as extortion. And that's the big thing that, you know, I think he probably realized now, like, oh shit, yes, you're asking someone for their money, or you're asking for money that was owed, but if you threaten, if you do violence, if you do it in a certain way, that is part of what people or the feds would call extortion. So that got added to the overt act. I was only shocked by, and that's why I'm asking your conclusion. I'm gonna let you speak in a second. I'm shocked it got added now, and I'm wondering, other than what Wack has said publicly, what other information do they have? Maybe Wack's just chatting. Maybe this never happened. And I think that would go into a conversation of, is the feds just listening to podcasts and throwing anything, like, is like throwing shit on the wall, hoping something sticks?
Okay, so listen, let me take a deep breath. That's
Yeah, that's a good question right there. Now that's
a good question. So let's just back up for a second, and I'm gonna play this game with you tonight. First of all, so we talk about overt acts. Overt acts are things that the feds add to indictments that
Back on the
really
bottom.
speak to the character of the overall scheme of what the person is charged with. We're talking about a conspiracy here.
which will enhance a sentence, bro. That's just like, you know, a dry snitching. Basically, bro, that's exactly what it is.
So when you look at Wack telling that story, nobody else told the story publicly but him. So Wack's trying to attribute, or he's trying to blame a snitch in Big U's camp and saying they're responsible for doing it. But how would they know? How would they have that measure of details? Nobody would have that measure of details but him. And on top of that, how is that an overt act for Big U when Wack said that he was the one who spotted Future and Sierra? He was the one who approached Future. He was the one who basically chased Future down the jet bridge.
Okay.
And that's gonna be the main question. Why is this in Big U indictment? Because of the story told online, which was included with Big U. You know what I'm saying? That's the only place they probably correlated the story with, bro. You know what I'm saying? And Wack 100 was telling the story like he did it. I don't know who's telling the truth here, so I'm lost, bro. I ain't lost, but what y'all think? Let's keep going.
It was the one who cornered Future. And when Future called Stunner on the phone and through the phone at him, Wack was the one who had the conversation with Stunner. And Stunner, and he said that when Stunner said, "Oh man, what you doing, man? I'm busy. I don't want you to be busy." Okay, well, I know you're being busy, but I don't want you to be busy. And Wack said, well, he owes Trick $50,000, and he can't be in my backyard and owe bro no money. He either gonna pay the money. He gonna pay the money. He said, quote unquote, he gonna get fucked up and pay the money, or he gonna pay the money. It's his choice. So that's a threat. That's extortion. Now, here's my point. He's doing all this shit. He never said that Big U did anything except get the luggage off the goddamn conveyor belt after they went through TSA. So how could this be added as an overt act to Big U and contributed to Big U when Wack is the one who's guilty of every goddamn thing?
Okay.
Big U didn't do shit.
All right, perfect. And let's stay there. Right? So we're staying with that same train of thought. So when I first read this, I thought the alarming thing to me was that they said that essentially Big U and a co-conspirator. Now, when you see that word in an indictment, it tells me that the police or the feds have in their mind, in their story, they believe that there is a co-criminal. So when I looked at that, I said, wow, this is kind of serious. It looks like they're expanding the things that they think Big U have done, and they're also accusing Big U of doing things with Wack. Now, here's the thing. That makes him possibly a suspect. I don't think they put you as a co-conspirator if you're not a suspect. Here's the thing about the online narrative, and that's where I want you to help me figure it out. Because a lot of times when you guys are, you know, and I'm saying you guys like kind of like just tongue-in-cheek, because I know you have specific things that you talk about Wack with. There's other people who talk about him in a negative manner. But here's the thing. I say that you guys can't play both sides.
He say basically all
There's
the Wack
an argument that people say that Wack is an informant.
I don't
Now, if
think
he's an
y'all
informant,
hater, though.
right? I'm not saying he can't be called a co-conspirator, but everything points to me like Wack is a suspect. Not just he's not an informant. He's a suspect.
Hold on. So listen, Big U is under a massive federal indictment.
Yes.
So if Wack is a suspect, if they're saying that he is a co-conspirator in any way, then he should be indicted with Big U. You can't be a suspect in saying that you helped in a conspiracy and not be indicted with the conspiracy unless you are working in conjunction with their stories in some way. So I want to back up for 1 second and take a deep breath. You're saying that Wack is a possible suspect. Well, if he's a
that's what those
suspect,
words mean to me.
Okay, listen. If Wack is a possible suspect in a far-reaching conspiracy that covers a lot of territory, we know that Wack ran with Big U for years. Wack was Big U's basically second in command. Wack and Big U ran hand in hand long before Loose Cannon, long before anybody else. When they were still cool, they was doing what they were doing together. So if Wack is the suspect in at least one thing, and that one thing is what happened between Future, Sierra, Stunner, Trick, and all that other kind of shit that he said that happened to LAX. If he's a suspect in that, he's a suspect in a crime.
Yes.
And as
hold on. But not because he's a suspect in the crime mean they have enough at this point to charge him. There was hold on.
He admitted it.
Hold on. Though. Wait, hold on. Let's talk through this and let's argue logic here. So I want to point out a particular. You might not know this case, but there was a case, and my chat knows it. There was 2 men who were accused of killing somebody named Stefan Mack. By the way, that's the guy who supposedly killed Dirk's brother, right? They kept referring in the indictment against the 2 shooters that they were going to get paid by a co-conspirator. The co-conspirator was Lil Durk. Lil Durk never officially got charged in that case. Why? They didn't have enough info or information or whatever to get the indictment on Durk, but they alluded to him in that indictment as a co-conspirator because in their story, and these guys did a murder for hire. So what I'm saying is that what I could definitely say, read in the paperwork and chat, I'm gonna bring the paperwork back up here again, and you guys could, we could flush it out. It appears that they're saying they believe that Wack was a co-conspirator in this conspiracy of extortion, but because he's not charged, I can't just automatically go to he's a snitch. If anything, look at Durk. Even if you're 6'9", they'll charge you if they feel they have enough to make you guilty of a crime to actually make you flip. They wouldn't leave you out there uncharged where you could be just doing whatever. So that's where I kind of like jump off the train where I'm like, I don't believe Wack is an informant.
Let me put you back on the goddamn train. Listen, everything you just said about the whole Stefan Mack and Lil Durk thing, all that's correct. But let me introduce something else. They would leave that motherfucker out there and let him work if he's working. Wack 100 is working in a concerted effort to take down everybody in the Crip organization, starting with Big U. That's number 1. Number 2, when you look at everything that he's done.
Hold on. I'm asking one question towards what you said. How does him telling a story that, yes, involves Big U, but he clears Big U's name because he said he did everything, how does that help take down Big U? I think Wack running his mouth and saying that put him in hot water, not necessarily shows that, because he never said Big U told me to chase after him. That would be different. So, he said I was there with Big U, and any lawyer's gonna argue, okay, if I was there with the guy who then picks up a gun and chases someone and kills him, how am I in the conspiracy of murder?
Good question. Let me answer your question.
Okay.
So the incident that transpired in that airport, we know about it because Wack talked about it. Big U didn't talk about it. And when Big U became aware that Wack was telling this story, Big U came out and said that it was not true.
Yes.
So my question to you, let's just deal with logic here. Why is this an overt act that has been added to Big U's supplemental or superseding indictment when they have no evidence whatsoever that he did anything other than sit back and watch Wack do it? So if we know this because Wack self-admitted that he did it. So if he self-admitted that he did it, if he self-admitted, he admitted that he initiated it, he shot at Future, he initiated the contact with Future, he chased Future, and then he forced Future into a situation where he cornered him on a jet bridge, where he extorted him under the threat of violence. So you tell me, how can a person do all that shit, and then the feds put that on Big U, and don't list Wack 100 as a material witness or as a co-conspirator because he's the one who did every goddamn thing.
I'm glad you said that. So now this is where I think there's a middle ground. What I would agree is that while proven a RICO or any type of conspiracy, like, and I have to just, I'm not saying it for your education, I'm saying it for the education of the audience who's watching and listen to us. So an overt act, so in a conspiracy, no matter if it's statewide or if it's federal, they're going to have a predicate offense, and then they're going to have overt acts. Now, the predicate offense is you shot someone. Those are actual crimes that could be charged by themselves. Now, the overt act is to establish a pattern. It's to show the other acts that basically prove that it wasn't only that he shot someone, he linked up with other people. He told this guy, yo, go get this laser for my gun that I could make sure I don't miss. Yo, could you book him for the club? Like, booking him for the club to make sure he gets there is an overt act. That's not a thing. You can't get charged.
So this is, now I know y'all probably like, man, he just letting it play, man, but they talking about some stuff that's interesting, man, and I know y'all probably interested too. So hit that hype, like, and subscribe, man. Let's keep it going though, and I give my opinion at the end.
So I guess I would say, I say all that to say, for this overt act to be proven, Wack, if he's the only one who's ever said the story, now Wack has basically told us he feels like one of Big U's homies has told the story, but whatever.
So he's not the only one to tell the story then. So let me interrupt you for a second.
Go ahead.
So listen, you just described what an overt act was in relationship to overall conspiracy. So listen, all the stories that Wack 100 has told about Big U, they really speak to Big U's character because he's telling about what happened.
And how I feel, that right there alone is enough to get some, get some time added on. I don't think that's enough to, make it to where he guilty or not guilty, he free or not free from just that little overt act alone. But that overt act, bro, that's serious, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's speaking to his character. That could be the one piece that they needed to, we got 4 of them. We need one more to make 5, and that, seal it right there. That's just what that is, bro. To me, what y'all think it is, bro?
With Nipsey Hussle, when Nipsey got killed, he trotted Loose Cannon up on Adam Clayton's platform, and he pushed Loose Cannon to say a story about Big U calling him and telling him that Nipsey was dead before Nipsey was dead. And then he interviewed another person. This is all Big U. He interviewed another person.
See, now I think Loose Cannon was fibbing. I think he was just running the play right there. But that could have been, from the higher up, somebody making him run that play. But I don't know the whole intel about that situation, to be real with you. But I think that was some bull crap. A Big U called him before the death even happened. Now, I don't know, but let's keep it going. Let's see what Dog got to say. Hit that like, hype, and subscribe, man.
As a crip, saying that Big U paid him to steal a U-Haul truck filled with $40,000 of Christmas toys from in front of Big U's house. The guy said that he was supposed to get paid once they get the money from the GoFundMe. He talked about that. So all of these things that Wack has described about Big U.
So again, I'm asking you, in any debate, you try to state what your opinion is. Me, I say, if anything, Wack is a suspect. Wack is not a cooperant. And if he was a cooperant, I think he would be listed or described differently. Now,
if he a suspect, though, my question is, if he a suspect, why he's not picked up? Maybe he gonna answer that right now.
They try to get him to testify, of course, right? But the idea, and this is a public narrative, that Wack is a cooperative and he's a snitch, I can't buy into it when I'm watching them describe that they basically could lock him up, potentially if they have enough on him too. So back to your story, right? And you mentioned that he did these interviews.
That might be the reason why Wack 100 wasn't on that IG for a couple of days, bro. He over there sweat. When it first dropped, I don't think Wack 100 knew about this particular superseding indictment that came down on Big U, and it had that in that. He was like, oh shit, I know his stomach dropped straight to his goddamn balls, man.
Interviews with these guys, Wack plays dirty. And I guess you being from the street, your opinion.
No.
Hold on, let me just finish. Your opinion, are way more than mine in this. This is how, and I've heard Wack say this many times. If he doesn't like you, okay, there is no street nigga code that he protects you from getting in trouble with the law if someone else that doesn't like you is on a podcast with him and is willing to snitch on you. So that's what he's always said with the Loose Cannon situation. He's like, I don't fuck with this nigga anyway. And Loose Cannon's his own man. If he's willing to do this, notice Wack didn't say, hey, I was with Big U in X, Y, and Z, and Big U did anything. The only story is this situation with Future, and he said Big U did nothing. So
No. I beg to differ. That's not the only story. Listen, when Wack 100, when he sat next to Loose Cannon, and Loose Cannon described that he had received a phone call from Big U talking about Nipsey being dead before he was dead. Mm-hmm. That is Wack puts him in a position. He can't hide behind what somebody else told the story. Not me. That's the Crips did that. Ain't no rules on Big U's indictment. He helped put people who he knew had fell out with Big U. He used those dumbass niggas. And he used their anger at Big U. He used that for his benefit to get at Big U, who he didn't like. That's clear as day. That's number one. Number two, you talked about what the overt act was. Everything that Wack 100 has said about Big U over the last 3 or 4 years, it has all led to establishing the overt act. It all has led to thinking about the character. Everything he did, he was shooting at Big U's character. Big U's a thief. Big U's a murderer. Big U set this play up. Big U set that play up. Wack has been using podcasts.
And one thing, well, before I cut Dawgface off, one thing I have heard Wack 100 say, but they listen. When I talk on this internet, they listen. They just, they're just my opinion, man. But I'm gonna let this ride out and we're gonna get up out of here.
He has been using platforms like yours, like No Jumper, and like
wait,
everybody else.
But are you saying these, like, again, my caveat was that has he probably allowed or platformed people who have accused Big U of actually committing crimes or said, oh, I was there committing a crime with Big U? Yes. Okay. But I kind of do understand his
so
nuance.
If you're saying yes, Akademiks, if you're saying that, so listen, you're Akademiks, you're the most powerful person in urban media. No Jumper is no small fish. And so when you talk about who you are and what access he has to you and what it means when he tells a story, you are a bullhorn for Wack 100, brother.
All right, hold on. Let me ask you a question.
All right, man, we're going to end it right there, man. Y'all want to go check out the rest of this, bro. It just dropped an hour ago. It's over there on Akademiks page, man. Make sure y'all go check that out, man. But Dawgface called in with an explosive, an explosive conversation for Akademiks, especially after, Dawgface accuses Akademiks of letting Wack 100 use his platform to run his narratives of what he want to say. Well, y'all just heard it right there, man. Dawgface is putting that pressure on, man. He is not playing. Like I told y'all, bro, Dawgface is Wack 100 kryptonite, man. And Akademiks is fighting the story, bro. You know what I'm saying? He basically like, hey, to him, it seemed more like, Wack 100 could be a suspect. But me, I'm outside looking in. All the stuff building up around this stuff, bro. All I could do is sit back and look. But Dawgface is putting it on it, bro. He say that's what it is, man. And the things that go on this internet and what Wack has been involved in, a lot of people is going to say that he's working with them boys, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's what they just going to say. But I want y'all to get in that comment section, though, and let me know what y'all think, man. Make sure y'all hit that hype button, bro. Get this video on the algorithm. And another thing, bro, hit that like button, bro, so y'all can and comment too and let me know what y'all think for real so I can get back into the algorithm, man. They done sat me on the bench for a little bit. I'm trying to get back in it, man, but y'all let me know what y'all think. It's your boy BT Scoop. I'm out.